Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you are all doing well and enjoying your day so far, and today I wanted to hone in on a couple of interesting topics before week 2 of stage 2 of CDL at 2021. Atlanta FaZe so far this season have been dominant. 10-0 series counts don't look like showing any signs of slowing down right now, but their opponents in the major championship match for stage 1 were the Dallas Empire, the reigning world champions. They haven't been looking quite so hot. They're still looking very good in terms of their series count, but actually in terms of how they've been playing, not quite so much. Right, and last night in scrims against John's team, they really didn't have the best of times. So, well, that raises a couple of questions. Are Dallas Empire actually going to be that good this season? And also, who's going to be the first team to beat Atlanta FaZe? Intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, also thank you to Draftbuff for sponsoring today's video. Thought it was incredible that Sibilants managed to win again last week at a 5,193 right now overall in the Draft Royale. The biggest Draft Royale in Draftbuff fantasy history if you guys want to join and get involved. The link will be down below. But Sibilants manages to win once again with this crazy team of Paulx, Simp, Vivid, Cellium and Dashy with Atlanta FaZe as his pick of choice. I mean, he won it like a couple of weeks ago, so remarkable how good this guy is at fantasy. Fair play. And well, this is the team I put together for this week. So Priestahh, Venom, Simp, Stanley and Dashy I'm going with. I think this can be kind of good. I think Venom's a good pick. Stanley I'm not too convinced about just because Minnesota have such a tough run this week. They play Dallas and they play OpTic, but you know, he was cheap, so what can you do? And I've tried to make the rest of the team decent. But last time I tried to take this strategy, it didn't really go to plan. But if you guys want to get involved and beat my team, then feel free to do so. The link to join will be down below, completely for free, all that good stuff. So this came out from Loony yesterday at Crimsix. Brother, you are 30 minutes late and counting. So yeah, not particularly happy with Crimsix being late for scrims supposedly. And of course, as Seattle Surge played up against the Dallas Empire, very close indeed just a few days ago. That really was a series that probably Seattle should have won. They had plenty of chances to do so. All they have to do is win one of the round 11s in either the game 2 or the game 5, and they win that series. And honestly, Dallas really didn't look like themselves. I mean, they went up 2-0 in the control to close out the series 3-0. They got reverse swept within the control in a 3-0 to, well, 3-2-0 to 3-2 type fashion. Then they go into the raid hardpoint, and they get massively come back on that map as well. They went up massive early on. Then Seattle just completely dominate the latter half of the game, and that really didn't look like the Dallas Empire that we expect to see. As Crim says at the time, GG Surge, close series and a fun series. That 1v1 was horrible. Moving on though, you know, we got to get better than this. I mean, all of us right now, I think this was the reaction from the team after the fact. And honestly, you can look at the face cams on Dallas Empire after they won this series, and you'd have thought they lost, right? Just their body reaction and language was like, look, how do we even let this series get so close? And it is kind of interesting in comparison to what Crim said just a few days ago, really. One of my biggest flaws is that no matter the opponent, going 100% in pool play effectively groups is just so difficult to me. Need stakes, need the pressure. Now at the major, of course, they looked pretty damn good, did the Dallas Empire, but up against Atlanta FaZe in the grand finals and the winners finals, I mean, Dallas really didn't look close to Atlanta FaZe, and the only team that's really matched Atlanta FaZe so far this season, to be honest, has been OpTic Chicago. They actually had a pretty close back and forth series, and if the Search and Destroy was a little bit better from OpTic, they actually could have won that one, whereas, well, of course, no other team so far this season has really come close to doing so, apart from the Paris Legion, but that was in a match that didn't necessarily have too much importance for either team, or at least for FaZe, because they'd already qualified number 1 seed, but they managed to get through it regardless with some incredible clutches, I'm sure you guys remember. So this is Dallas Empire's season so far. Of course, last season they didn't have the greatest start either. By the end of the season, they turn it around, become the best team, and win the World Championship. But as you can see, a lot of 3-2 victories. 3-2 against the Subliners here, 3-2 against the Ravens, you might not expect. A 3-2 loss to Minnesota Rokkr, which have turned out to be not the best team. They've made a change already. And then, of course, the 2 series they have lost in recent times have been to Atlanta FaZe. 3-0 in the winners finals, 5-2 in the grand finals, completely destroyed in both of these series. And well, this victory against Seattle Surge right here, this 3-2, was far from convincing either, right? So I think there are some questions about the Dallas Empire, the fact that they seem to play down to their opponents somewhat. I mean, they beat OpTic Chicago in that game 5 round 11. That certainly could have gone either way. And maybe next time they play in just a couple of weeks' time, maybe it'll go a different way. But a lot of game 5s against teams you might not necessarily expect them to. And then when they play the big dogs in Atlanta FaZe, they get kind of destroyed. And well, we saw the Dallas Empire right here. These were the stats. I mean, Huke had a crazy stage 1. ILLey certainly not so much. And this was their scrim set last night. So Ronnie LFC once again doing an absolutely wonderous job putting all these scrim results up on the Reddit. But here you can see one map that they played yesterday. So this is a Dallas Empire up against John's Challengers team. Interestingly, FeLo, that being Felony, right, if you guys know him, is that he's actually the substitute technically signs to the Dallas Empire. And while playing them in scrims right here, having a pretty damn good result. Of course, this is a very good Challengers team in general. Jerd, Gravity, FeLo and John, that is a really nice team in general. And clearly Dallas think they're good competition because they decide to play him in a scrim set. And John, of course, course, legendary Call of Duty player, won the World Championship way back in Black Ops 3. A lot of people think that if he actually can compete this season, as he seems to be able to, given he's now running his way through challenges, he might be a great asset to certain teams in terms of an SMG line. And he's certainly been looking pretty damn good right here. 45 and 30 this map. I mean, FeLo dropped 7,000 damage on the guys. But this then is the rest of the scrim set results. So on Apocalypse, they actually got 100 point clubs. So, I mean, like, this is not something you would necessarily expect. At the end of the day, it is scrims, but it definitely comes into this whole storyline, the idea that Dallas haven't been looking so good as of late, and then they play scrim against John's team, and actually, they lose this series, their scrim set 1-4, and they leave after the raid, right? For whatever reason, they don't decide to play out the rest of the series. They win the raid 252-23, they lose that checkmate in some crazy comeback, lose the Moscow as well, and then Apocalypse, they get kind of destroyed, they lose the raid, and they decide to just kind of maybe give up on the map set, or, you know, whatever else they happen to be doing on the day. But it's certainly something you might not expect to be happening to the reigning world champions. That's not to say, though, they haven't been looking good so far this season. They're second place overall, but FaZe are here at number 1, right? FaZe are 10-0, 32-9 map win percentage, and Dallas Empire, despite being, you know, 7-3 in terms of series counts, they're actually 25-19 in map win percentage, which is very close indeed, right? Like, these guys are not positive, like, by a massive margin by any means, and, well, they certainly seem like a significant step behind FaZe right now. Now, over time, that may well change, that may well improve, but I think questions are going to be there about exactly how good the Dallas Empire are, and how long it's going to take them to be able to compete with the best, because at some point you do imagine that OpTic and Empire will figure out a way to beat FaZe. It's kind of similar to last season where FaZe early on felt like the most dominant team, even though they didn't play OpTic for quite a while, and yeah, it seems like over time they actually got caught up on. Maybe this time around that'll happen again, and certainly I hope it does, because we actually could get some very competitive series, rather than seeing another, you know, 5-2, you know, whitewash in the grand finals that FaZe did last time round. And that is another major question, right? Which team is going to beat FaZe first? Dallas Empire gave it their best shot last time. It just didn't get anywhere close, right? And as round 11 stats says right here, FaZe have played 14 S&D games, and Simp has gone positive or even in every single one of them. What is even going on right here? How do you even stop this? But this was the series they played way back at the start of Stage 1, up against OpTic Chicago. They did the comms link, of course, from this match that you guys might remember we talked about last week. But again, this is when aBeZy gets that crazy triple kill at the end. And as you can see, OpTic here are up 2-1 in the series. This was their chance to close it out. I mean, if aBeZy, even if aBeZy, I see a lot of people saying sometimes like this one kill that aBeZy got like defined the match. Not necessarily, right? Because actually there were a lot of FaZe guys already rotating to this new hardpoint. So even if aBeZy dies here, he probably gets traded out. I'm pretty sure there was 2 other guys already on that new hill. But as you can see, like OpTic are only a few points away from closing this series out 3-1 against FaZe. And I think that they're honestly the most likely team to do it right now. Because in Search and Destroy, no team seems to be close to what FaZe are being able to pull up. And the respawns might be the way to do it. And if there is the strongest respawn in the team right now outside of Atlanta FaZe, because I mean even FaZe are dominating the respawns, it's probably OpTic Chicago. And I do certainly think that OpTic in this new map set as well, with Crossroads being gone, Apocalypse coming in, I think they do have a great chance against FaZe in some of the respawns, at least to be competitive in the respawns. And I think if there's one team I had to pick so far this season to actually give the best chance of dethroning FaZe, or at least taking a series off them, it's probably OpTic Chicago right now. I think they probably have the best shot, especially given what we've seen from Dallas not too long ago. And New York Subliners, of course, played them just a couple of weeks ago and lost in that 3-1 fashion, despite winning the Search and Destroy, which FaZe almost never lose. So pretty incredible stuff. I mean, they're 10-0 as you can see right now, 2-0 so far this stage. They then play, I think they play the Thieves this week, then they play the Ravens, then the Gorillas. So I mean, like, all these matches, right, are certainly very winnable for FaZe, especially given that Thieves have just made a roster change. That may actually make things somewhat more difficult for FaZe. It's harder to prepare, certainly. But right now, they've been absolutely on God tier form, and I'm not sure they're going to lose anytime soon. I mean, that would be 13-0 if they win all of those. Then they go to the Major, and they'll play the second place team in the other group. That could be a Dallas, could be an OpTic, could be someone else, depending on how that group turns out. Could be pretty chaotic. But yeah, I can certainly see FaZe at least making it to like 14, maybe even 15-0. And then if they do that, they'll be in the grand finals again. And who knows if they're going to lose that, right? So yeah, very scary team right now. I think if they do play OpTic, which probably they will, at least hopefully they will at the Major, that might be a team's best chance to take a series off them, because I'm not really sure Dallas look like they're going to be able to do so right now. These are the matches for this week, just to let you guys know exactly what's going on. So Empire are playing Legion. That's going to be far from easy, given, okay, Empire may be looking a little bit shaky. Paris are, well, not an easy team to bowl over by any means. OpTic are playing the Minnesota Rokkr and also the Florida Mutineers this week. And you can see right here that FaZe are playing Thieves later this week. OpTic play the Mutineers. Empire also play the Rokkr later on as well. And just to finish off with this pretty entertaining tweet from Doug, we talked a couple of days ago the fact that, okay, November the 13th until March 18th, 2021, playing on a 5-millisecond response time. Doug's winning champs. To further clarify, been playing on a 5-millisecond controller delay, while all the competition has been on a 1-millisecond delay. Every gunfight, grenade throw, flash throw, sprinting, moving, sliding has been 4 times slower lower, I guess 5 times, but whatever, than everyone I have played all year. It is official, boys. If Dallas Empire keep performing like this, someone's got to go. Get Shotzzy out, get Huke out, get Doug Center Martin in, and well, they'll be able to upset Atlanta FaZe and stop their win streak. Intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks to Draftbuff for sponsoring today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm know you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well, and I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always, take care, and I will see you next time.